an epic interplanar battle in which we were victorious, followed by a chance meeting with a greater deity. This is pretty much living the life, folks. We are spent the evening and night doing triage, setting up, trying to tend to all the wounded we could. Through some pretty remarkable efforts, we saved quite a few. Some may not be battle ready for the future, may be permanently disabled, but they're alive. Make it through the first evening, get a little bit of respite. We level up. Everybody's level 11, including Lodrin had enough XP to get to level 11 even, so.
Woohoo!
I believe it's around level 11 when spellcasters get truly ridiculous.
6th level spells.
Mm-hmm.
I like being ridiculous.
Kind of limited to cleric-y kind of stuff, so I don't feel too ridiculous.
I mean, I just got the ability to cast a fireball, but you know, you guys could do that a while ago.
Okay, well, 14d6 necrotic damage. I mean, I guess that's okay.
That's all right.
That shows that, you know.
I've seen bigger.
I mean, my fists went up to a D8 instead of a D6, so you know, watch out.
Watch out, watch out! Oh, goodness. So, as we kind of all prep for our level up, you can just continue to do that as we go along. The Archwizard is going to approach everybody and try to get everybody together. So I wanted everyone to take a minute to kind of let all things settle, to process the scope, the magnitude of not only what we accomplished, what took place, but also with our meeting. None of the others are privy to our meeting. Not even Ileana, not even Milar.
I wondered about that. How is it that you saw what happened and not him?
Oh, I'm sure he'll talk to her plenty enough, but Our Lady has a heart. Much rather him absorb the moment he was in than deal with the moments to come. He will have more than enough of that.
She just smiles and says, that's good. And well, maybe it's not my place to ask, but what was she referring to at the end when she was speaking to you there?
Well, that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. Our bonds have been cut. So...
And what does that mean exactly?
Well, for the better. While we didn't know it, at least now, events around us won't seem to be so predestined. We walked a thread that was laid before us in amidst the chaos. So there's some good that goes with that. I'm still in a position with the Phalanx. That's really where my passions have lied, even though I've trusted on the lady's guidance all this time. As you all know, you've been very honorable, and you're all honorary members of the Phalanx in any way that that could benefit you down the road. That's the least I could do for that. But she kind of he turns over to Steen. Your help has been instrumental as an underling amongst us. I'm afraid that has put you on unequal footing. And for that I'm sorry. And so from now, I'm going to relinquish that hold on you. You will still hold all the rights of any Phalanx member, but you are no longer in the chain of command. You're no longer an underling. You are free. Free to go with your conscience, to go with your friends, to aid in whatever way that you deem necessary. There's one little caveat there. With your freedom and your lack of ability in the chain of command, I can no longer offer you the garrison as a station of command or a place that you hold. The Phalanx must undergo a period of rebuilding. Must rustle up our defenses and actually be prepared for what is in store, not just in letting the bad things out from within the Badlands, but the world. We need to be seekers of justice. Without overstepping our bounds, we need to stop things like this from happening. So we're going to have to build some new branches. We're going to have to rebuild our numbers and restructure the way things are done. We're going to take back our garrison. But the lady left a gift. The Phalanx heavily patrol the southern eastern borders, as well as the western coast and the northeastern coast. We also have stations in Mayora and Kanos. That's the other country to the north that borders the Badlands.
Kanos?
The Maorans, under our guidance, set up, fostered, and now, on their own, ultimately defend the border as they choose. Kanos has also been free for a long time. But now it's vacant. Many of its leaders are members of the Expeditionary Force. It has no governing body. It has its freedom, but no governance. And to that, we offer you.
A country?
He just kind of shrugs. A country.
Is just absolutely agape at that.
What does Carr know about this country? People, any? Yeah.
Go ahead and hit me with the history.
Okay. Ooh.
Mostly just the common knowledge stuff. It's mostly all retired phalanx. It's like when people retire from phalanx, that's just where they go to live. That's their Florida.
Yeah, I was gonna say Florida.
It's their
Oh no,
Florida.
they're giving us Florida.
A lot of their governments, a lot of the governing body was still intermingled in phalanx politics, although they didn't have to be. Mostly because they were kind of retired members to begin with, so a lot of them stayed ingrained in with what the goings-ons. Those that were maybe a little elderly or inept due to different disabilities or whatever over the time would go there. They do have a fighting force of ex-phalanx members that are some of the veteran troops. Not all, like, phalanx isn't necessarily an organization where you go until you just can't go anymore. People, do stints and then leave of their own free accord afterwards. Most people stick around until they get to that point, but there's still a bunch that just do more like freedom force kind of thing. And a lot of those people there, and that seems to be the common knowledge side of things.
Is there a port city on the eastern side?
There is a port on the eastern side, and there is one large castle in the middle. On about halfway, like middle east and west, there's there's a pretty big channel that comes in on the eastern side of the country that forms the border. So like there's a
Yeah, me too, Loma. From a we were having this we put the down payment on this teleportation circle thing. What's that going to be about now?
When the lady said to set you up, she meant it.
Oh shit! What we got?
I'm real excited to see what that looks like.
Give it time. Give it time.
It's pretty.
Oh, I see a prime spot for Clip Clop.
Oh man.
So, thanks to Degra for working with me over a little bit to build you a castle. There is a river that runs southeast of the castle.
Does it lead to the ocean?
That leads to the channel leads to the big channel that's the northern border of the country that leads to the ocean. Mm-hmm.
Okay. man, these aren't Kragan divine wells, but you know, I guess Mistra wells will do okay.
Or, mundane, regular old water wells?
Could be. Could be.
There's green. I do like that there's green.
Me too.
The country of Canos. The word from when the country was founded, it was actually the first after the Badlands were destroyed. That's where Ziran took refuge, built his armies that eventually protected the rest of the world. It was named Canos because that word means recently made, fresh, unused, and unworn. Also means a new kind. That name doesn't really serve it so much anymore, so change it if you wish, or embody it. Last night, I dispatched one of the wizards to transfer your teleportation mark to that place. Any goods or belongings were taken with it.
I would like to keep the name the same.
I like it.
Perhaps here we can figure a way to revitalize the Badlands. Perhaps we can embody the name, after all.
But it'll be your place of governance to foster a citizenship, to rule as you see fit. And your only charge is the defense of your border.
I'm just kind of looking around at everyone, trying to garner what kind of a reaction they have.
Izzy's still pretty stunned. And you would, I think, know that Izzy hasn't got to own a lot of things in her life. And then just being handed a country is like she doesn't really know what to do with that.
I've sent some artisans and some magicians to assist. We can't spare many, as we're rebuilding many of the garrisons, getting things more battle ready for whatever may come in the future.
Can I ask, what happened with the crystal?
Not even Mistra really knows. Someone messed with the threads of magic. The lodestones are of mortal construct. Mortal magic is not like the divine. It uses it differently.
Does the barrier still stand, or is it gone there?
In front of that garrison, it is no more. Although, in front of the garrison that you defended, some stability seems to have returned. It was intermittent at first, but it seems to be garnering some of its power back, as the lodestone was not actually destroyed. Or really damaged.
So I guess that other one can't really be repaired at this point then. There's just a gap there now.
We'll have to work with Nilar to see if we can garner the old knowledge to build a new one. But for now, no.
Out of character, at this point, what remains of the battlefield? Like
What do you mean?
everybody who could be helped has been helped, and what happened to everybody else? Like the bodies.
Um, they've been kind of gathered, but nothing specific. They've all been laid out. None of them have been buried or piled up or anything like that. But they've all been laid out. Sheets and things covering top of covering each one
Okay.
for hundreds. Kind of laid out in rows for the people to do, for each of the peoples to do with them as they see fit. But yeah, everyone that was critical has been assisted. People are. This is probably going to be a triage center here for a while as people go from critical to at least, movable in a nice way.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't know if this would be the point to do it, or if it could have been something that she did earlier. But Izzy would have expressed some concern of leaving the bodies here when, as far as they know, there's still a necromancer on the loose. And if anything can be done about that.
Could be transport. They'd be kind of left to the individuals,
Okay.
but they could see it done, so that all of them left.
Okay. Then what's the plan? Should we go to this Kanos? See what's there?
Are you asking the Archwizard, or are you?
I'm asking the party, I guess.
Perhaps we bring your people with us, Lomo. Perhaps they can survive not somewhere not in the Badlands for a little while until we go back to whatever we're going to do until we come back to try to heal it.
I'm gonna need a moment with my people.
Of course.
Go seek out Laura.
Mm-hmm. So what are my people up to?
Mostly tending to their own. Figuring out what to do with the dead. The triage of those. But they seem to be kind of in order. Kind of starting to gather.
I'm gonna start waving my hands toward me, sort of a kind of a gather around motion. as I walk towards the triage area.
So Laura will kind of approach first as people start to gather around. Yes, arrow that guides.
Well, it's funny you call me that. Not a guiding sort of meeting. This is a question for all of you. We've just defended our land, but this land as it is not fit for us. We deserve something better.
A lot of nodding.
I see one of two general choices. Either we work and work to make this land what it once was, and as always, that would be the long-term goal regardless. Or, as it turns out, I've just come into ownership of a piece of land that I have been assured is quite a bit nicer than this. What we could do there is tend to our wounded and begin the process of thriving rather than just surviving. And when we feel we are great enough a force, we can return here and then fix the land.
Coming from this place of luxury, will we be able to garner the strength? Will it make us soft?
That is a fear I share. This land has made us hardy, and it's made us appreciate what little it has to offer. And it has been such a great motivating factor for us to change it back.
You've seen the outside, and we have not. So really we can only ask, is it worth it? Is it better or just different?
I can tell you it is not not as good as what our land once was. They treat the rivers and the land as just something to walk by, not something to walk through. They don't appreciate the journey. They just go from destination to destination. It's many different people out there, and they don't seem to share our affinity for the land, and it shows. However, there is one amongst us, and I'm going to try and point out Lodrin. That big, big man, he also shares an affinity for the land. I believe that he could be a starting point, maybe for training, maybe definitely for lessons on how to restore the land. I'm certain he'd be willing.
So you can see they're pretty enthusiastic about it. As long as we remain true to ourselves and we keep our bearings, We
There's
can
one
see,
thing. Oh, sorry.
as I say, we can see that this is going to be a proper way.
If there's one thing that cannot go back, it's that in the old days we were so carefree, we were so enamored with the land, but we didn't participate in the world. It's time for our people to start participating and taking responsibility for the world itself. We need to work.
The world has shown to us that it cannot be trusted in its own. It needs our guidance, our voice. On this we agree.
We can show them that through hard work and determination, we can change this land for the better. I think that's agreed upon then. We should get to work right away to restore this land. And we can have the big druid. He can teach us all he can.
We will go with you on this journey, and we will come back. Some in the short term. There are many of us that are still out there that we could not find, but they're out there. So once we have time to recover and regroup, then some should return. Until then, we need to learn the new ways.
I'm going to give a very emphatic nod. And okay. Gather your things. We will go when we're all ready.
So by the time you make it back, you can already hear whisperings. Words already spread about you guys taking over Kanos. Somebody went around telling everybody.
That conversation that just happened.
Twitter post.
Did they go off and have that on their own?
Yeah.
He went over off to where they were. Yeah, they were kind of off to themselves already. About this time, you can see the two Mayoran leaders make their way over to you. Kraith, the paladin leader, is going to be kind of a spokesman. For those that remember Captain Roland, he's been from the paladin from way back when. He's very reminiscent of that guy. He's very stoic, very hard as nails. And out on the battlefield, you saw that he held his own really well. The rest of his squad, maybe not as much because they missed all the time. But he was doing awesome things. He was doing things. Alright, so we couldn't help but hear about your little situation, you know, with this new country and all. We were hired to do a job. Dear God, we were not prepared. We didn't ask nearly enough money for it.
Yes, but with this on your resume, you'll be able to ask a lot more in the future.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty true. But, we kind of talked it over. We don't want to. We're coming with you. We're not going to take no for an answer.
Izzy
wouldn't-
just like instinctively is checking her pockets, and she's like, I don't have.
You must sway the minds of all your men to change their ways. They will be fighting for purpose and not profit.
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about that too. We get it. You know, man's got to eat. We got to live. We have conviction. We're not monsters. We think we found our purpose. If you can see us fed and looked after, it's not profit we're in for. You guys didn't do this for money, but you did it anyway. We did it for money, and we shouldn't have. Well, enough of that. I gotta do it for what's right. We're in.
I hold my hand out for a handshake.
And then he shakes your hand and he kind of stares at you, like gives you that hard stare. So don't fuck it up.
That was Car didn't laugh, but I thought that was great.
He just turns and walks away. Ralidar just kind of was next to him. She just let him talk. And then when he turns to walk away, she goes, just turns around and walks away too.
Well, that's different. I don't think I can't remember anybody just joining the Bloodhawk because they wanted to.
I look for where is Bijou?
I would be finishing up helping clean up whoever needed to be cleaned up and getting ready to look for my troops.
Their over exorbitantly happy attitude they had beforehand, confidence, that arrogance, everything they had. The people that are still alive, they're the most somber people out of everyone that's here. They've kind of all crowded, heads hanging down, kind of gathered to themselves.
Okay, so I head over towards them.
I follow with her.
As you approach, you can see like a couple of them nudge each other, like kind of point over. It's, you know, that you're coming over, and like, get up, you know, come on. As they, you know, kind of drag the people near them up, upright. Turn.
I find a stool or box to stand on, so
Mhm.
everybody can see me. And I tell them that they fought valiantly with their limited knowledge that they had, but it's not enough, and we have to change that. Lots of our friends and family died today, and I hand the person that's nearest me a letter, and I say, this is your task now. Your task is to go to Taft and to take this to Constance and let him know that I will be sending Caprice's Fion, my father, as soon as I can to them, but they have to get this to them. That's their task. They're not to stop. They're not to help anyone on the way. They must do this and to remember what happened and not forget it.
I lean in towards her a little bit. Not whispering, but I'm just trying to speak just to her. Perhaps these are the people you need to train everyone else. Start when you get back, so they can tell all of your warriors what has happened, what they've seen.
That's what the letter says, essentially.
Then, good job.
You see that your heads are still kind of hanging. Like, yes, lady.
Oh, I do nothing to cheer them up at all. I'm very upset. It's not the happy bijou.
Also, in the same voice, I see you're upset, but it is not these people's fault.
No, but they can't stray from the path. And if they were having distractions, they may not make it. They'll recover. They'll be fine.
I just give her a very diplomatic kind of bow and kind of back off a step.
The guy you give the letter to, he just takes it, and you see, tucks it away in a little satchel. Put that satchel in another little satchel, if that's going to make it more safe. Thank you, lady. We will do as you command. We will go right away. Thank you. We will do better.
We will, as a people. We will all do better.
And then, like, with his head hanging down, he just kind of, is just sitting there, right in front of you with the letter. He just very quickly reaches out his hands, like, gives you a little quick hug, and then scurries away, like he did something wrong.
She does smile at that, but she quickly tries to hide it.
You see that person kind of emboldened as he's walking through. Like, all right, now let's go. We've got a job to do. We're not going to disappoint anybody this time.
Be quick!
They start making ready, gathering things, traveling goods and such. Get ready to leave.
So the clerics and the paladins and the halflings are all heading up towards Kanos. The gnomes are heading back to Taft. And the phalanx, I assume, are heading back south?
They haven't said anything. That would be... You can see that they're talking with the Archwizard and his group. But yeah, they haven't come and talked to you directly or anything.
Was that everybody?
Badlands, Taft, Phalanx, the Wizard Circle, the Archwizard and his group, your group. Yeah, I think so. Mayorans, yeah, we covered both legs of. Yeah, the only people you haven't talked to directly are the remaining Phalanx members that were part of the expeditionary force.
I imagine Steen at some point would go talk to them, but he's not here at the moment, so.
Mm-hmm. So he he very likely would go talk to them, as he's the one that gave him the pep talk and everything beforehand. About those kinds of things. So you see Steen go off, talk with the Archwizard, talk with those scouts, and he comes back. He's kind of in a mood. Steen is still conflicted because he's technically not a Phalanx member anymore. I mean, he is. Y'all are in a honorary form, but he's not. He's not in the chain of command. He's been used to following orders for so long that you can see that there's some effect on him in that regard. That he's not. He doesn't know what to do with freedom.
Yeah, it's a pretty smooth termination. I should have wrote down some of those lines.
It'll be recorded on YouTube. You can just clip it in, whoever you need to. But you see, of all the things, Steen's been pretty stoic, even across all the disaster of everything that was happening. And when things get bad, he'll be sassy or whatever. But he's never been disheartened. But now it's like the wind's been taken out of his sails. He's a little just doesn't know what freedom is. Never been free. Not even before he joined the Phalanx, really wasn't free. And so he's conflicted. A few minutes later, later, you can see the two leaders come over from the scouts to talk with Steen as he's back kind of over in your area now. And they too offer to come along. So they tendered their resignation. They're retiring.
Oh.
They did their duty, and some to the man, and they have no problem with the Phalanx. They have no problem with what they've done. They see the error of their immediate judgment on the finger waggers. They thought that they were being betrayed by Nilar and his group, or by the wizards anyway, that were with them. They see that they were in error. But honestly, after everything they've seen, they can't take a backseat role to fixing and restoring. They want to take it to whoever it is, whatever it is. Sure, the Phalanx is going to restructure and they're going to build, but it's a big organization and they're going to rebuild. And no matter what, they will always be defensive. Is going to be their first instinct is to defend, which is admirable, but it doesn't get the job done. And so they want to go where the job gets done. And so they're coming with you.
Respect. I would shake their hands and welcome them.
So when you get within Kanos, you've already got some veteran military units that are already there that exist as part of the country, even though the leadership is gone. It's not at full fighting force because a lot of the veteran units were part of the expeditionary force as well, so they're no longer with us. But there's still some that are behind for minimum defenses and the like. There's some regular citizens, farmers and stuff, the people that have retired, some people that have just moved because they like the general structure and lawful nature that is the Phalanx and kind of that's been set up in that area. Generally peaceful. So there's some non-Phalanx citizens that have moved in for Prospect, not for profit, but just for peace and their own corner of prosperity. And not there to make it rich, but there to just not be poor. But yeah, it'll be up to you folks. Whatever y'all want to do with that. You can.
So are we
so-
getting the lift up there, or what is?
You could, if you very likely could. The wizards already, you can see they've already started opening portals all over the place. Some people coming and going, supplies coming in, particularly first aid supplies. Some people leaving already. Some of those that are healthy that are heading back to wherever, out of their groups. They're going to go and they're going to offer. You can kind of see some of the other group. You can see they go talk to the Taft people and offer to send them to Taft to their portal stone. After their portal circle, not portal stone. And then likewise, they're willing to take you guys back. Although y'all can go back. They did tell you that they move your teleportation circle there. And so your stone that you channel spell into is now works to take you to your keep. To your the keep inside of your castle.
Oh, since I have a. Oh, when we do go there, sorry, I just realized one of my new spells. I can teleport around. I forget what it's called at the moment, but when I do get there, I'm going to cast it there, so I can also we can teleport there if I have the spell prepared from anywhere.
Oh, nice.
I mean, will this be working too with our portal stone that we have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So your Hearthstone, went with your teleportation circle.
It's a teleportation thingamabob in my inventory.
Mm-hmm. You get to decide how you govern, how you do, like all those things are things that you get to talk about, as well as they said they're going to send some magicians and some workers to build. If you want to build something, anything that you had already set to be built, they just built it there instead.
We've got to go find my dad though. She's looking at everybody like, what are we doing?
We do. That should be the next thing that we do.
We were told by our goddess that he would be crossing over into Camden, right? But still not safe.
Yes. We have to stop him from going back in because he doesn't give up.
Yeah.
He's the most stubborn mule I've ever met.
Yeah, basically she said that he went in, got thwarted in some way, had to turn around and come back. And he's crossing back into Camden tomorrow, or well, which would be today, some point, crossing the Great Barrier, and then he'll go to the big city. And he's probably going to try for another resupply or whatever, go for another go for it.
I can scry on him.
So I'm not sure where our new stronghold is in relation to the map.
Okay, let me open the world
Eastern
back up.
Moria.
Yeah, it's the other country to the north that borders the Badlands.
Okay, so that would be closer to him, so that's okay if we go there.
So he's... Let's go ahead and share this up here so we can kind of take a look at it. Your castle is pretty much right here.
Are there any wizards that can send a message to him?
I think they have to know him to be able to send a message, right? Isn't that how that spell works?
Yeah, in some way, I think. I mean, I'm sure they have some means to get a message. Whether it was just contacts in Camden or whatever. there's a river that flows by the keep. There is by your castle. From within the keep, there is a underground tunnel through the hill that leads down to a harbor on the river. The river is actually substantial, big enough that it can carry not like the biggest ocean ships, but something like a pirate's cutter or smaller could do. But any kind of like large cargo ships, they could make it on the big channel, but they couldn't make it down the little, like the big ocean cargo ships couldn't make it down the little river. So it's not like Mississippi big, but it's definitely big enough to handle most, every kind of river ship for sure, and even middle class and lower ocean ships. The keels are short enough that it can actually traverse that part of the river. There's also an actual big harbor at the end of the river that the channel flows into, and so there's a lot of ferries that go back and forth for a lot of the goods and stuff for the people that park, bring in the ocean trade into the big harbor, and it gets ferried back and forth.
I
No,
take
I'll-
out my map and start spreading it out to show everybody this, and start talking about how we could grab a ship and take it around. But we'd have to go through Demir, which would mean that we would need a tithe to get through the channel.
Our teleportation thing, we got the upgraded model with Wi-Fi and cruise control.
Mm-hmm. Got
Where,
all the trim.
I know we can pretty much, I think, go to any of the phalanx bases, but are there any other circles, things we can teleport to?
Yeah,
Like,
there's a pretty extensive list of places that you can go to readily. You can go to Kragos, you can go to Taft, you can go to the Braelin's main place, you can go to Rodran City, you can go to Tunira in Tenaria. Those are all known for sure. There's a couple of other countries that we still don't have names for that you could probably get to. Probably the port city in Camden might actually be one of those. We'll have to roll for that to see, but I expect that to be one as a possibility.
that might be better than going through the pirated lands. And we wouldn't be too close to Kragos, but it is a big going around thing. Like if we were able to port to Camden, or even maybe the westernmost phalanx fortress there, we would be a much shorter thing if there was port access. I don't know.
Either the Phalanx or in the Tunarian, Kazim on the western edge of Tunaria has got a big harbor.
Oh yeah, Chasm. Yeah.
Probably the world's largest harbor aside from Tunira.
Pair of harbors.
Yeah. That's where that and Tunira's actually got some of the world's largest harbors in general, because they're the full trade country, right? Zarka's got one, but that's the Phalanx harbor, so it's kind of small. And then Tunira and Chasm are huge harbors.
Yeah, sending him to be a creature with you are familiar. I guess when he had any was third level. How is a bard can? Oh well, fuck! I can learn sending, and a bard can learn sending. Assuming this is possibly the morning, and I could prepare that, I could try to send a message. I mean, I get Bijou could too. I'm not sure how your spells work, but I can change mine every day.
The arcane casters typically have to choose them on level up. Bards are more like sorcerers in that regard.
Yeah, mine don't really change.
It is
Like
25
clerics that
words.
have the full list of everything. Just every day they have to ask their god for the favor to be able to cast their spells.
25 words or less. What? We
Get
don't
your
have to do this-
Ostamos.
We don't have to do this right at the moment, but I guess I would like to try to do this today. You know.
Yeah, you can go check out your place. You can you can offline start setting up some. What do you want to do with your country? What do you want to do with your castle? You want to build a big temple? You want to build a wizard's tower? You want to build you want to get your dojo on? You want to get it done outside the castle? Like all those things that we were looking to build, we can build those. You know, those that we already paid for. Those are going to get taken care of. Just decide where they go.
Yeah, I have to talk to you, Drad, at some point. And then possibly everyone else. I've had some things in my head, but today, Carr finally found out what I knew, a few things. So he needs time to catch up to where I'm at. But I have some ideas about the Badlands.
You also found out who's been pulling your strings all this time.
Yeah,
At least
really
it wasn't
hot
bad.
goddess.
Yeah. She can pull my strings anytime. I guess I would ask if one of the wizards might be willing to help us get to Camden if we have a day or two to set up some semblance of governance in Kanos.
Oh yeah, so they're gonna say they do have someone stationed there to activate the teleporter for you.
Okay.
So if as long as the connection is open and not blocked from on the other side, they can get you there. So they moved it over. So just as you'd paid for the actual installation and the service of having basically a doorman wizard, whose entire job was to port you at your whims. That same service you'll have at your castle. They've
Can they
installed
tell?
it there.
Can they tell if it's blocked on the other side?
They can when they go to open it.
Okay.
There is a limit to the number of times that the teleportation circles can be used, like in a given span.
Okay.
But they're not entirely sure what that is. But the other person should be able to tell you. That's what they basically say. They'll let you know how, like, if you've depleted it too much. Some of it's depends on where they go. The one could be a uses kind of thing, could be a distance kind of thing. The further you go, the more power it uses. Might need more time to recharge. Both the wizard and the circle, and then sometimes it's blocked. And so the person who has a circle can turn it off so that it can't be used to get to. That could be handy.
Yes, for security purposes.
But other than that, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it might be prudent to go to this castle. It may be our fastest way to Camden.
Yeah, I was kind of working in Discord about the message and stuff. And I was about to type this. I'll just say it to Lily. He'll need something because he'll hear it in my voice, so he'll need something when I say I'm speaking for Bijou that only you and him would know. Because otherwise, he's saying this dude, "Hey, this is your daughter."
Gotta hit those falsettos, man.
Stop smoking. Give it up. Not good for you. 2 pots of coffee and a carton of cigarettes a day is just not cutting it for you, man. Expand your diet.
if he's intent on going back out there, maybe you can tell him that
Yeah, if we can get him to wait or
yeah,
something, you know,
that we
so
could
we can
accompany him.
buy us some time. Because I would like to get this. We probably need to get some basics of this whole country thing going.
Yeah, at least, you know, we got through what was the big story arc. I mean, the big arcs of story that I had predefined that we must do these kind of in this order, in order to get us here. But now you can do whatever you want. I mean, pretty much whatever characters want to do. And I'm gonna try to keep the arcs to be smaller so that we can kind of jet up and do things. And then as time goes on, we'll get, we know there's 2 individual character stories that are kind of left. We've got Biju's father, and we got 3, I guess, because we got Lodrin and the nobleman, Halifan, that we now know his name, and we've got Kar's uncle, and whatever the fuck he's doing in Kragos, or for the good, for the bad.
Let's I've been meaning to make a post to clarify this for everyone. Car's uncle's is still the good guy. That's the 3 sisters.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Uncle.
not Kar's uncle. Yeah, the other.
Yeah.
I think
didn't
I
really
had
think
I think I
about-
had that mixed up myself. Honestly, it's their uncle that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not my sisters. They're just the 3 sisters.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I mixed those up when I was talking a while back.
I think, well, for the most part, I think we've had, because, I was scrying at my uncle, and it was definitely the good guy then. I didn't think at the time about everybody having a fucking uncle and that getting confusing.
Yeah. 2 uncles, 1 good, 1 bad. Shit is going down. Good, bad. Who's the guy with the gun?
All right, Kai. I got 25 words for you.
You send
want
it in
them?
Discord.
Where do you want them? You need to say them, or you want me to send them?
You can send them in Discord if you want, or you can. It doesn't matter. Huh?
If it's what he's sending, somebody send it to me too. That way I know
How
what
about
your
I
uncle.
just whisper it?
Yeah, that's fine, and then he'll see it.
Yeah.
I need to know what screen to look at. And you could maybe do I don't know if Drad's gonna have me do a roll on this. I don't think you have to, but you can possibly do my inspiration bardic thing.
Absolutely.
Just in case he does.
Guidance yourself. Cool. But yeah, I've got nothing else left prepared for today other than let you guys hash out anything y'all wanted to hash out. So feel free to. We do not actually have a combat encounter right now, but we might on the next one. We'll see there too. Depends on what we do, where we go. It does look like we're favoring looking west for the next group kind of thing.
Yeah,
Makes no sense.
seems like that's the most pressing thing.
Yeah, Bob's wrecked. He's too old to be moving around doing shit, but he's moving around doing shit.
Baseball day. Shouldn't you be pissed drunk right now?
You guys, there was many beers lined up for me, and I said, nope. Sorry,
You
gentlemen.
should
I
take
have
them
to
on the
play.
go.
I have to go.
You say you do it for us, but really, if you didn't, your wife would probably kill you. So it's really for you.
It's true.
Do we want to do the message thing now, or you want to wait till the next time to send it? Drad.
No, you can send it. Yeah, it's not a. Is sending a two-way? Or is it a one-way?
Yes, it just open.
You can reply to this message.
Yeah, you send a short message, 25 words or less. A creature with you are familiar. Here's the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you and can answer in a like manner immediately.
He's also met you before.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. This spell enables creatures with intelligence scores of at least 1 to understand the meaning. So yeah, he can reply a brief thing back as long as they're on the same plane. Otherwise, there's a 5% chance the message doesn't arrive.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. You can send it.
So yeah, I just send that message that you're saying. Prince Capricious Father, Taft suffered great loss. Battle of Badlands. Lodrin and I are coming to you in Camden. Please wait. Love your little jewel, Bijou. And I'm assuming that's probably 25 words exactly.
You get the response is you got a bit of a harumph. You don't sound much like her. But I've got a couple of days. I gotta refit, resupply, and re-enlist. That's it.
Oh, I tell Bijou what he said.
Sounds like him, not willing to wait on anybody.
So we got a couple days, so a day here to plan our the keep and things and get some of that going. I'm assuming we can, we'll probably be best to do that in Discord and you guys got ideas about things and then figure out how to get there in the next couple of days.
I have
Can you
kind
do
of a. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. How often can you send a message, Car?
It's 3rd level, so I guess as many 3rd level spell slots.
So each day of our travels, we could message him again.
I mean, I could message him something right now. Again, I suppose.
Technically, he could do 9 messages.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a bunch of 4th, 5th, and a 6th or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to send a message at 6th level. It is surround sound with a subwoofer.
All around you. Like the movie theater with the Adobe.
Yeah.
I guess I'll send another one, a little more. Where is this? Friend of your daughter, we've met before. We are coming to you soon.
Well. Better make it snappy. I've got stuff to do and no time to do it in. Did it once. Won't fail again.
Yeah, tell Bijou that. So yes, your father is stubborn. Jungle adventure soon. Level 11 gorillas.
Yay.
Lodrin's gonna have a field day.
There's gonna be not demons and devils, hopefully.
Yay.
demonic.
Maybe a
gorillas?
few. I mean, gotta sprinkle them in, keep you on your toes. No. It depends on where you go, where he's going. Which I still,
Imagine we're going to have to follow him. I got the feeling he is not going to stop.
I haven't actually rolled on where he's going next. He's looking for something. And we know. I don't know actually how much we know.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the Bijou Battle of Wills with him.
We've seen her get mad like once or maybe twice. I think it would be a pretty good battle.
Better start taking lessons, I guess.
But I do Cardos.
So I don't think. Oh man, I don't guess I gave you all that info. I thought I had it in a story, but I don't have a pin over there on the western front, and I was looking, and I don't guess I put the pin in the actual module that has the information in it either. So I'll tell you. Well, you're right. I'm gonna be a bitch about it, but yeah, you're right. So since we're heading over there anyway, might as well give you a little. So this is the Ferox. Ferox is the large island. It's the name of the island itself. The name means wild. That's just what Ferox means is wild, because that's pretty true. Camden, the eastern country there, has basically a large Great Wall of China on its western border, and it has a pretty stiff military to guard that border. Camden itself is a tourist attraction, pretty much. It's luscious paradise-like beaches, perfect tropics kind of weather.
Caribbean.
It's basically Camden is basically the Caribbean.
After we rescue your dad, can we just stay there for a little while?
For sure.
Beach episode.
There is a mountain ridge.
Modern in trunks.
I don't know.
Everyone have like those old timey ones that have like the straps that go up over the shoulders.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna like go sit down in a hot tub, and the water turns brown, and everybody runs away.
There's 4 jungle columnations west of Camden. They're dense jungle. We're looking rainforesty kind of jungle for most of them. The south one, the Savage Lands, there is no civilization there. Nobody goes there because you can't really get in. It's completely surrounded by razor peaked mountain crags all the way around. There's no natural paths that work their way over the mountains. And so the few people that go in, most of them never come back. On the inside, that's where some of the real wild savage animals kind of live, where dinosaurs are natural too, is in the Savage Lands. And then the 3 to the north of that are all run by different kinds of orc and goblin kins for the most part. So Jet is orcish. Kardum is mostly goblinkin, hobgoblins and the like. Hagney is kobolds mostly. And then west of that is all super boggy swampland. Like a cross between the Bog of Eternal Stench and the bog in the Neverending Story. Quicksand and perilous mud, or the one from Kroll. Yeah, the swamp from Kroll. That's what we're talking about.
What about Dagobah?
Yeah, Dagobah. Yeah.
All right, something I've seen recently. Hi. My pop culture references are not strong.
What's in the dark?
So it's basically giant cluster of mountains. There's no valley in. There's no valley or anything. It's just a little mountain cluster on the end, on the other side of the swamps. It's called the Dark because that is known location of dark dwarves, as it is an entrance to the Underdark.
Let's not go there. Did that another one. And I had to go back, get.
The Witchwood is actually its name is very telling. No one goes there because there's a lot of things like hags and the like that they just think the wood itself is cursed. Not only there's a lot of people that go there and disappear for no reason, and not even the Goblinkin and the orcs and stuff. They tend to leave that place alone too. And then the other two that start with the Z's are known for their Yontis. That's the snake people.
So I made some mountains called Happy. We're gonna go there, the Happy. And
We're
there's
gonna go to the Caribbean and camp.
there's balloons there and rainbow unicorn zebras.
Oh, you actually did make it.
Yeah.
I just saw it on there. I was zoomed in on Ferox. That's funny.
What did I miss? I missed something.
I'm erasing it now. Surely there's a better way to undo that than the erase tool, which is really horrible.
It's pretty bad.
Oh, yes, thank you.
So the erase tool works like a selection tool. So you just draw a circle around it and it erases everything.
Neat. Okay, cool.
So as I guess a logistics thing, if we own a country, does that mean we get taxes? Like for improving our castle and paying our people and stuff like that?
If you want to do taxes.
Do they do taxes now? I mean, how are they paying for everything now? I guess would be a good place to start because I don't want to necessarily.
Yeah, so they're not all donation. I said they're not all like donations and tithing or whatever. As far as that goes, just like the Mayorans, they do receive some. There is a stipend that they get from the Phalanx for continuing to guard the border, but that's not where they get the. That's not how they don't run the country off of the stipend, right? So yeah, I would imagine that there's some form of tax. I mean, I hadn't really thought about what they did before, as far as was it property tax or sales tax or what? I mean, I don't know. Fair use tax. I don't know. Income tax. But yeah, they had some kind of tax for the people living there.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, it's not every day that you stumble across a bunker full of gold and platinum. So I was just wondering if there was like an existing system in place that would be a more reliable source of income.
And yes, I mean, I'm sure we're probably gonna have questions with things you haven't quite come up with yet. So if you need time to come up with something,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's for y'all to come up with. I
Sure.
don't know anything. I don't know nothing.
yeah, but I mean, there was something there before.
Yeah,
if
sure.
you wanna,
Well, I'm thinking that like there must have been some kind of taxation system in place that like we probably don't need to figure out all the nitty-gritty details of it.
oh god, I hope not.
No.
But like we could
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
simply,
asking you to
like, say-
actually like create a constitution and a set of law. You know.
Yeah.
We're going to need to build a wall.
But I'm thinking probably land is something that's generally taxed because land is considered wealth, so they would probably tax landowners and probably like a sales tax of some sort or import tax or something like
I
that.
guess ultimately what we need to know is what's in the treasury, what's coming in, what's going out.
Yeah,
Not necessarily how we're getting it, but the numbers.
yeah.
As far as operationally, you know that they're going to be covered operationally. They're not in the hole or anything like that. So you're not getting the money pit. Here's this. Here's a country. Put all your money into it. So, but I was thinking they're more operationally neutral. So they, whether that was a taxation thing, it wasn't. The people that governed not as a way to gain more wealth themselves, but as a way to, whatever money they took, it was to do whatever services the government required. So whether that was
Right.
both the mayor and like protect the Badlands border, that's a service. Whether it's run or maintain the harbors, whatever those things. There would be something. Maybe everybody just paid a certain amount to be citizen, like a citizenship tax, so and that just covered the difference in operating cost of the defense of the country, and then for things that you use, or like a use kind of services that you're a part of, benefited from.
Lodrin's also going to need any illegal substances to be taken off the list. Going to move for the legalization of literally everything.
Hippie.
You can raise a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
So I guess basically whatever's coming now is enough just to maintain what's there, and if we want to build stuff, then we'll need to find another source of income. Is kind of the idea.
Yeah, that's my idea in general. Yeah, is that you weren't starting off with any kind of like profitable income by you're able to have the keep and the castle and all of its pieces. You get to have as a part of as payment for your ruling of the country.
I'm thinking probably we don't want to mess with taxes too much because that just pisses people off.
Unless the taxes are on recently legalized drugs.
Yes. That might go over okay.
Walk around asking for alms for the poor. I mean, whatever. We're just the poor.
Lumo doing some dancing light shows.
for the people who are on these recently legalized substances.
Eh,
The government opens a food truck after legalizing pot.
Oh man.
Don't even tax the pot. Don't have to. Just sell them food. Give the people what they want.
only has like Doritos, Funyuns, Fritos, Pop Tarts.
Mountain Dew. But yeah, no, all things we can work on, figure out, etc.
What's the best way to do that? Do you want us to kind of like just talk it out over Discord or something? Like the logistics sort of stuff?
Yeah, we can do that.
So, roughly, where on the Badlands map were we fighting? I know we were in the northern-ish area.
Ooh, a new channel. Nice.
And what was the ground like in that area?
The ground.
Mm-hmm.
By the castle?
In whatever part we were fighting, we were northern. We were somewhere in the north.
Oh, the Badlands?
Yes, Badlands. I mean, nothing was growing, right?
No, and I remember there being some like plateaus or like a mesa or something. How we came up on the battles.
Yeah, so we were over here, ish. A little, maybe like right where this circle's at in the Badlands. Eastern, southeastern Badlands, all of that is the very loose sand. Like you think of this, the high peaked dunes. You think of a regular desert. A lot of the western part of the Badlands is just rock. Is rock covered with sand. Very craggy. Think you can think of like out west in like New Mexico around the Grand Canyon, like all those big, like solid rock desert, that kind of desert where there's all the canyons that go down and the like. That's what the western bit looks like. And then y'all were kind of on the edge of that where it starts transitioning from one to the next. So you were on y'all fought a battle on a huge plateau / mesa after coming out of one of these big valleys and crags, and then there was a lot more sand out on top of this plateau, and as you go further east.
So here was my initial thoughts. We have the mountains, possibly snow-topped, melt, rain, flows down. Where is the water going? And is it not? Yeah, is there something besides it being a desert that's stopping the water, or do we need to kind of undesecrate the land for it to accept the water?
Yes.
I feel okay.
Yeah.
One of my thoughts, I thought this would have to be after the Krago story, but then all this happened, and then the Meorians were going to join up. I was like, shit, this is all working out. I would like to build a temple somewhere here to start undesecrating the land. And then hopefully the water that comes from the mountains, maybe you can eventually get that to be a river and actually get water flowing back into the Badlands. I feel starting here with the water source and just a temple there for clerics and whatnot to start working on the land and druids. Maybe we can get our first bit of land back.
Yeah, we actually haven't got to see one of the rivers, what it does when it comes into the Badlands. But in general, so it hits the barrier, and then on the other side of the barrier, you can see erosion like where a river's like a dried up creek bed that kind of very quickly comes to a point and closes. Done. The water, it's not like it just pools and runs along the barrier. It's not the barrier that's actually stopping the water, even though it kind of looks that way a little bit. So when it crosses actually into the Badlands where the barrier's at, it just instantly goes away. Just instantly, like, it evaporates into the air. You would think that, but it's not humid there either, so it's not like the water's actually in the air. It evaporates and just actually goes away, not sticking in the air or anything like that. And when you were in the Badlands originally, you tried to create water, and it just didn't work. When y'all after y'all were shipwrecked, it just didn't work. The magic jugs seem to still work. So there's something about them that does something. But once the water got out there, it, for the most part, just seeped into the sand. So you couldn't really see if it, disappeared. Also, it did what a splash of water does in the middle of the desert. It just goes away. But that actually evaporated. The Lumos people have actual water. I mean, they just have to get into the caves and stuff to get it. There's no free-flowing water above the ground.
I would like to send just initially a few clerics, a few druids to some place where water is flowing down from the mountains into the Badlands and see if we can not necessarily consecrating the land, not necessarily making it holy, but we're undesecrating it, just trying to get back to neutral. If that is at all possible, and if when that happens, does the water start flowing through the land as it should? And if it does, we have our start to get the land back, I think. And if that does seem to work, that's where I would like to throw a temple.
Cool category. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. See if we can investigate some way to begin taking the land back. And there's probably a couple of the Badlands shamans that are really intrigued by this as well. Anything they can do. Their unit was killed, but they weren't killed to a person, like in general. Saved some of those.
That's good. When you said that the things that we had tried to arrange or pay for were being sent up to the castle, How does that apply to the spy network that I had asked about?
I mean, most of those people are elsewhere, right? And so they were
Yeah.
going to do contact points back. We can work out. Your point of contact kind of does the same. Just have someone there that manages that network that you can talk to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Now, any of those kind of plans that we can just assume that the logistics are kind of worked out on that as we transition from one locale to another. We're gonna still be able to do all that. Lumo can still have his dojo built. He doesn't really need to build a place for Clip Clop because we actually have one.
Mm-hmm.
Things-
Clip will have a roof over his head.
That garrison's still going to have greenery and water and some other things, which you'll have plenty of access to here for that on that side of things.
And I think Car's got to catch up to my level of thinking on this, but I think getting the Badlands back is just, I think it's going to become real important for Car. It's a way to stand against, I don't know, injustice, even on a level of fucking Paylor. Like, okay, you did this, well, fuck you, we made it better. You go piss off. But not saying that directly to him because I don't want just to undo it with a sun fart. But yeah, I've been waiting for Car to hear Lumo actually say these things. Because I've had a lot of ideas.
I liked how when Mistra told us that Elvira was the new god of the sun, that at least more than one of us said something along the lines of, "Well, thank goodness that we didn't kill her."
Oh yeah. I know, right?
And that's the one who was doing the. She had all the different versions of herself open. One was detecting
Yeah.
good and evil. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would have gone real bad for us.
Well, yeah, Drad did say like the knife's edge that we walked has widened by not killing.
Yeah, by not attacking her.
Yeah.
But if Paylor is no longer god of the sun, then what is he god of?
He's the supreme deity of good. Go figure, right?
That's still
He's wearing a
still that.
keep Ralidar great again, make
Oh,
Ralidar
God.
great again hat. Supreme God of Good, Jesus. Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask, but I didn't want to say the name. I was essentially wanting to ask is like, how long until we have to fucking fight Paylor because he seems to be a not good.
I'm a big fan of fighting Paylor. Sure.
But that's closest. I probably should have whispered you saying that's what I was thinking when I asked that, but
He nuked half a continent. I'm sure that would go great.
I was just like, how far up does the corruption go or the imbalance? But yeah, because I don't know. Seeing things, I know we have a bit more meta knowledge on this, but things at that level seem very much in disarray. And Ao was impressed by what Palor did?
Not the methods. The result
Results.
of bringing back balance.
But I'm feeling like ultimately Palor's failing in that respect because things are, because of the Badlands, are going to become very unbalanced to the point where AO may just, well, let's just do the rewipe, format the shit, do it again.
Yes. So you could say that the part he was impressed with was the extreme measures he would take to bring back balance, which AO doesn't care about methods at all. He only cares about the result of the balance. AO is true neutral in that if it takes chaos, if it takes evil, if it takes good, if it takes law, those are all great as long as every bit of it comes into balance. And in Palor's actions, I would argue that they were completely evil, but they were lawful evil. Against what was going on was a whole lot of chaos. And he's the god of good. And so his spin is that it's, he did a terrible thing for the right reasons, which is a good thing. Like, philosophically, a lot of people don't agree with that, right? But Ao doesn't care about those things, so.
But Palor's also still holding on to his followers, right?
Yes. Yep. That's the thing. That is a subtle piece. And by subtle, it's a pretty big piece. But since he's no longer the god of the sun, he's now the supreme deity of good. That left a slot for someone to actually, for some of those worshippers to start bleeding off, to start worshipping the new god of the sun.
Did they know?
Not exactly. Not all of them. Some of them do. Lumos people knew, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that they needed to explain it, I guess. Or whatever. When they were talking about that, that's who they followed. That led them to Lumo in that place before the the big battle. They were following.
Right.
The sun god, and they knew that it was a good person. They weren't thinking Palor. They're just ill-informed about the way things were. Then they know about the way things are.
So in my notes, Meladara, Mayoran clerics, and some of them were Palor worshippers. Now, are they worshiping a sun god, or are they worshiping Palor?
They think they're worshiping Palor. In terms of god terminology, they're actually worshiping Palor. But if they knew better, they probably would not. They're probably worshiping the new sun god.
Okay, and the paladins and the clerics came with us, right? All of them Mayorians?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
There was not a single one of them that didn't. Yeah, they came. Every one of them did. There's a lot of. So there's as you recall, there's quite a bit of diversity. So there was a couple of people that followed Palor. I mean, they weren't by any. There was no majority or whatever. They were literally strewed across everything. There was a follower of Lolth in there. That was another notable one we saw that had the spider, spider symbology. Lolth is not good. Not good.
They're I can. I don't know if you're. Yeah, I guess you have to be. I can do a roll if you want me to. Were there any Kragan banners in that?
Not in this group. No.
Okay.
No, there was not in this group. There in Mayora there exists temple to the Kragan gods, and there are worshippers that fit in one of these kinds of companies, but there wasn't any in this one. And you would know that. I mean, you would know that that's a thing.
I wouldn't mind also just getting one last update from our old garrison too to know if they were still doing all the recruitment drives that we had set up and how they were doing, the well still holding, all that. Or at least maybe throughout the future, I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's staying in contact, keeping the updates coming to make sure the handoff goes well. That's fine. We don't really have a lot of communication with them specifically at the moment, but that's a street that can definitely be opened up. I'll go ahead and just cut the stream side of things, but we can continue to talk.